if only I practice what I preach. So I do it one level, not another. Are we live? Oh, we are live. Okay. Yes. So here we are. It is the BetaSaaSers meeting. It's Sam, Puneet, and Richard, and we've been having our usual debate about the state of education today and so on. I guess if I was really such a radical educator, I would I would homeschool my kids, or I'd put them into one of these schools that has no curriculums or what have you. But at least
I did homeschool my kids for several years.
Oh, did you? Yeah. How did that go?
Yes. Yes. I stopped after 3 or 4 years because I basically I kicked them out. I expelled them from my because they didn't deserve me. I mean, it was I think it requires a certain kind of kid, and I feel like I did everything that I would have wanted someone to do for me. But they just didn't have that mindset. So they would just get sort of getting out of the work and so forth, and I just felt it wasn't worth it. But they're reasonably fine human beings, so I didn't harm them
too much,
overly, irreparably.
That sounds like a very interesting experiment, though. I mean, I thought like the homeschooling thing. I just think I couldn't cope with that emotionally. I mean, I think if there was a school like in our local borough that did the things like the Summerhill School does, I certainly would have been tempted. But I wasn't going to like move to a different part of the country or send them on a huge commute in order to get one thing over another. Anyway, let's go through the. It's a fascinating debate which I continue to have with myself all the time. So, working through I am now working through all the features of the course. The MOOC has started. That's what we're doing. And so these various things like updating everything, that should happen. Armando was maybe going to be here. He's not here at the moment. Neither is Janet. Yeah, that survey, great thing, that can go out. I'm not pushing hard in that direction. Armando wants me to pull out a pairing module for AB102. I mean, there's various things in bits and pieces here. I don't know any of them are ones that we need to discuss now. We still don't know whether Dave gave his final thing or what have you, and we just know that my jacket size is L, I think. But the general items we have are our textbook update and the MOOC updates. So I'll just get straight into those. The textbook update is, I believe, I guess because Armando interacted with Amazon in the correct fashion, people seem to be now getting the 1.2.1 updates. I have it. Somebody in Poland has it. So I think that the Kindle, people with existing purchase of the Kindle thing will now be getting their 1.2 updates. So that's nice.
And now, what's the status of that? Does that have like every? Because I know I only looked at things a little bit in that. And does that have like everything that makes things current?
In principle, yes. I mean, I think it's certainly not without errors or issues and so on. But this is,
it's an improvement. I understand. I guess here's my question. I'm realizing that you had talked about maybe over the summer, going through the MOOC, going through the assignments, and going through. Maybe I had in my mind, that was also going through the book, and I'm assuming that you really haven't done that.
Well, I went through the whole textbook last August, and I ran all of the textbook code on. At the time, it was like Ruby 2.2 and Rails 4.2.1 or whatever you, and I got it all working. And basically, I created a series of issues for Armando because he said rather than making the changes, look, let's see which ones we actually want to do. And then he was planning to kind of like do that in the fall 2015. It didn't happen. He had his class. It had crazy things or whatever. So, but he's now taken all of those issues and made all those corrections and pushed that out, and that's in 1.2.1. So, I think that there are still going to be issues and things that we haven't caught, but the textbook is in principle now up on,
Okay, that's cool. That's consistent. That's consistent with my understanding, and I don't mean to belabor this, but I think how effectively he took your your sets of notes, which I did look through and see,
Right.
and translated them into like clear and correct corrections. You probably didn't go, and I guess the last thing is you probably didn't go carefully and look at each one and say, oh, this is,
Yeah, I haven't double checked
because
the
that takes a lot of
changes
work.
that Armando made yet, but my plan is now, like, so we're just like we're just getting into the first weeks of the MOOC, and I have like instructions or suggestions to the students of like chapters to work through. What I would like to be doing in this run of the MOOC is to be replicating the entire experience, which is like working through the whole textbook. Probably it's unrealistic for me to completely review every textbook chapter,
Right.
as well as all of the MOOC materials. Because the priority for me is the MOOC materials, because it's been longer since I reviewed them, kind of like in context, so to speak. But sort of my plan would be, I mean, to the extent that I can make corrections and fixes to the textbook, I will be doing that. I'm allocating another 2 weeks in the summer, again, to focus on the textbook, and hopefully this time around it won't be so long before the updates come through. There should be less to do on this next run, but yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction. I can't promise completely smooth sailing. I would still love to move us to a situation where the textbook was in GitHub, some form of GitHub. I'm sort of Armando's kind of main thing about not moving away from LaTeX seems to be related to, if we have the textbook here itself, and we look at different sections of, can I remember, if we just jump into some part of the textbook, like so, that there's kind of, he was sort of saying, oh, if you're just in the markdown thing, you can't get, these kind of, I guess, sidebars and some, to be honest, I just find the kind of clean, if we just go to sort of walkthroughs from things in GitHub, not that our own stuff is going to be any, but so for example, just this kind of stuff, I'm like, do I need all the extra sidebars and bells and whistles? Maybe, well, anyway.
Right. I mean, there's different ways of doing that. I mean, I'm very sympathetic to Armando's issues, because I do come from this more sort of typographic
background, yeah,
world, but it came from identifying. My primary goal was identifying the structure of the document, much like what we do in Markdown and LaTeX. LaTeX isn't a formatting system. It's more of a structure identification layer on top of text.
Right.
So, but I'm sort of with you. I think in this case, the flexibility outweighs the loss of the presentation subtleties.
Yeah, well, and what I wonder is, what do people gain from the presentation subtleties? Like, pro. I'm trying to, I guess there are places. I mean, what Armando seemed to be saying was, it was kind of, is it like this? When I look at this, I feel like all of this could be fairly easily replicated in Markdown. The blocker at the moment for is that what are they called now? The Gitbook thing. If they've got like export Markdown to Kindle and to Mobi, but when you do, the syntax highlighting kind of goes screwy. I mean, or at least it has like odd space, odd shading in it, and the Gitbook people have proved rather unresponsive compared to.
Right. That Gitbook, they're coming from a different place.
They're
Right?
actually
So that would be. Right. If they were more responsive and more on top of things, that could be a whole different.
Yeah,
that could be a
that's
game
right.
changer.
Yeah, I would then be inspired to say, oh, right, it's worth making a big transition to them. But anyway, so that's the textbook. MOOC updates. Yeah, we're currently, what is it? Yeah, week -1 is live, and we've got the students that they're setting up with C9, and we're looking at questions like, do they actually need to be in GitHub? And I'm having a discussion with Armando about, should students be forking repos or just cloning them or what have you. What I have just done is I have finally, there was this, I'm like reviewing the weeks in advance, so I have just fixed the week 1 videos and some of week 2. and these are actually like this was it felt like such a pet that the story is that, so you may remember the old versions of the videos, which they were like a video camera at the back of the classroom, and you could kind of see some of the students sitting in the front row, and Dave and Armando taking turns or whatever. And I quite like those videos, but the following year, and I guess it's about 2013, Dave and Armando, they kind of re-recorded completely in, they had the Berkeley not only record it, but also do the editing of it. So it was then now videos where it's like talking heads, Dave and Armando, and then like but muxed in with slides. And I guess at some level, yeah, that's higher quality. It's less messy. There's more, I guess, eye contact between Armando, Dave, and the camera. And I think in order to, to save money, they sort of did all of that in house at Berkeley. One of the side effects of it was that the peer review questions, like, the videos were not split in the correct places from my point of view, or how they were in the previous run. So in the previous run, you would see Armando or Dave introducing the question, and then the video would stop, and then you would have, the little thing, and then you would have the explanation. And for basically the first, like week and a half's worth of videos, all of the things, they cut the video at just before the explanation of the questions started. So what you would have is, in the MOOC, you would have I don't know if you remember this or if you even looked at this, but it would have the explanation of the content, and then it would stop, right? And then you would have to navigate yourself to the next. I mean, that's the thing that Coursera and Udacity do so much better than edX, which is like automatically move you onto the question.
Right.
But there would be like no indication that the question thing was coming up or that something should be happening, and you would then, having already worked through the question yourself, the next video would then start to explain to you what the question was.
Right.
Which is just silly, if you ask me. So Armando got a TA after I had pointed out this problem. Armando got and I sat down and talked with him on Hangout. Armando got a TA. I don't know if you care too much about the story, but it was a big long process. So I have to share it with you. Got this TA. He went through and recut all the videos so that they would work. But the problem is, in the process, we lost the transcripts of those videos, and I think that there was a way that he could have done it with like maintaining the transcripts, but he didn't do that, or maybe it wasn't possible. And then, so what are they called? Berkeley was saying now all of the, they're saying like all of your videos in the Berkeley X course must have transcripts. So we had all that work done, and we couldn't actually fix it because we didn't have transcripts for all the videos, and there was like all, the transcript was complicated, and there was all edit permissions issues and this, that, and the other. But finally, through a sequence of things of like adding, oh God, what is it? New community transcript editing frameworks and so on, and working with lots and lots of TAs, we've managed to have like people all around the world retranscribe these videos, and now the videos are all retranscribed. I finally put them in to this version of the MOOC. So now it's finally back to the situation that we had 4 years ago, after God knows how much work. But we're finally back to the level of quality. I mean, arguably these videos are high quality. Go on, Richard.
Yeah, and I did like, those original videos. I mean, I don't have like an A/B comparison, but I do remember liking the original set better than what I would wind up seeing later. It just seemed, I don't know. I think sometimes the first time you do things, you're sort of more relaxed and it just comes out better. I have that issue now, is that I listen to some of the videos in my discrete math class that I recorded, and there's a lot of issues with the quality and the resolution and things that I did incorrectly that I now know. But I think if I try re-recording them, they're not going to be as good, just in terms of the quality. I had first time, it sometimes is better.
Yeah, well, and I think that the key thing for me was in the first lot, you got the feeling of I really am sitting here at the back of a Berkeley X class.
Yeah.
Which was a nice feeling. And now in these new ones, it's kind of like, okay, Rose is here. Rose, how are you doing? I think Rose is in shock, clearly.
She's shy today, unusually.
Well, I'm sure Rose will get her audio sorted out before too long. But anyway, so I mean, I think that there just seem to be with this thing so many levels of irony that sometimes in an attempt to improve things, we kind of end up making additional work, and sometimes in an attempt to do things cheaply, we actually cause things to have greater expense in various places. So, I'm very pleased to have got this sorted since I've been kind of working on it in so many stages. And so, in principle, if I clone new Spocks for yourself, for Rose, and so on in this coming fall, you'll have those videos all fixed.
Okay, this is particularly interesting to me because in the fall,
yes,
I am slated to teach 3 sections of this, which again, a large number of students. I had like a nice sort of year off in the spring with only half the class time.
Yeah,
and it's going to be like totally different and probably unpleasant, and I will have to rely way more on sort of video stuff to explain things, and whatever extent you've improved, those have been improved from Berkeley. And are you re-recording some of your own intro videos?
Yeah, I'll be re-recording my own intro videos. In all places. I mean, I'm using a new technique now actually, where I have the transcript of the what I'm going to say in advance, and then I read that from an auto cue, which maybe makes it less natural. But I think by reducing the ums, ers, just, and so on that I pepper my speech with, it basically saves people about 20% of the overall time from my original videos. So yeah.
Right. So even though I'm not as focused on that now, it's definitely stuff that's going to be of interest to me as the years on and we get closer to fall.
Something else that you might be interested in is that there's this pressure from edX to release a self-paced version of the course that's basically people are able to just keep on doing it indefinitely. One of the things that occurs to me, particularly because if we're going to be making running updates to that and so on, is and particularly if you've got like 3 sections, the self-paced version is sort of set up there and doesn't have any deadlines in it, and all the material's available the whole time. I wonder if people like yourself and Rose and other instructors might actually want to start making use of the self-paced version of the course rather than having your own clone. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Probably not. Okay.
No, but seriously, but go on, because either way, when I'm teaching the class, I will have a pacing on it when I do it.
Right.
So the issue that I'm understanding, which may not be what you're getting at, is that whether I start with Berkeley with the MOOC version and put in make some changes to adhere to my pace, or whether I start with the unpaced one and make those changes. It seems like a similar amount of work and a similar result. So
well, I was thinking more that perhaps more like maybe this is more relevant to Rose, but I wasn't thinking that you would clone the self-paced version of the course per se and make changes, but that you could just say to your students, the self-paced version of the course is there. Just use that, and then and the self-paced course is there with no deadlines in it at all, right? And then you would sort of impose your deadlines through a different mechanism, right? Rather, you know what I mean? So like a bit like Rose has she uses Blackboard, and so there's an extent to it. I mean, various instructors have used the course such that you say, often the university mandates the use of some other system anyway. So you basically impose those constraints through something, but then you just you could be using the self-paced version as a kind of, okay, that's where you go to do the assignment or access the videos.
Okay, and then I can jump in, because what you may not realize is that that's probably what I do now. In other words, I use edX's facilities minimally. I don't use any of the quizzes. I don't use any of the dates in it. The only thing that I use 2 things. I use it for video,
video lectures,
the lectures, and for the homework mainly for the AutoGrader interface,
Right, right,
which is hard, which is not which is pretty bad, but it's better than nothing. And everything else I do outside. And
right.
the main reason I do it is because edX is not geared to the to satisfying the needs of a regular classroom. And I don't trust. I never really trusted edX that if we run into a problem, that like I'm high on their cube, given that I'm like I'm on edge and we're not paying. So I sort of
Yeah.
want to keep as much stuff in my own MOOC. So
Right.
in that context, that's why I think we're when you say, oh, start with one versus the other, I'm sort of using it in that
Well, that's
self-paced
what I
way.
mean. In some
Yeah.
ways, if you're using it in that way, rather than us, having something on edge at which may be slightly different, and then we also have to do additional work to maintain. Like if we've got I mean, the flip side is that I'm kind of saying to edX and Armando, look, if I and the World TAs are going to be supporting a self-paced version, then maybe we need to come to some sort of arrangement, because that's a lot of additional work. But
Yeah.
if the self-paced version is there and it doesn't have any deadlines and all the material is available, then you and Rose could be using it just like that as a light touch. There's a place to go, and in the knowledge that if there's a problem in that, that's like edX is a serious thing. This is their big course that.
Right, that's a big win. That is a big win. And the only issue is then the auto grader reports. How is that going to work?
Well, basically, the AutoGraders will be available there. It would work exactly as it would do for you in the current
Well,
system.
I'm sorry, the reports, but how do I'm sorry, from my side, from the teacher side, how do I know how my students are doing? How do I get like their results and grades?
Oh, I see. Right, right. Yes. Well, we would need to give you access to the instructor interface. I guess, yeah, that maybe wouldn't work so
And
well.
that's interesting. And in a sense, it's like
Oh
it's
no,
almost like a hybrid self-paced where I want to use those materials, but
yeah.
key into them in a certain way. That's an interesting problem.
But so actually, what we would probably do is we would do what the mentored people are doing, is that we would create cohorts. edX has this cohort functionality, and you can then I think get data on the cohorts. So
Yeah, that's exact. I mean, that's the kind of thing we need to pursue.
yeah, for yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's
So
yeah. Go on.
no, I was just going to say, do what you're doing is make those notes, and we need to think about that in the back of our
Mm,
minds.
mm, 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 mm. I mean,
Because that's all I do that's all I get from edX. That's all I use edX for. I mean,
yeah,
the video stuff is self-placed. I changed the release just to reduce the clutter for the students, and so
yeah,
basically everything's hidden until it's like, okay, this video is assigned and I release it.
right, right,
But then they're on their own to watch it in the time frame that I
yeah,
impose from another system. And the only thing that I do is I import the grading just occasionally. Just every few weeks, I'll make a copy, a snapshot of the grades.
yeah, yeah. I use this. Like, I happened to have the MOOC starting one time when I was doing HPU, and I've had my HPU students use the MOOC, and instead of having a self-rolled version, I believe, and but of course I have full access to the MOOC, and so I could get the things that I needed.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting thing to explore. I mean, I'm trying to. Yeah, Rose is saying that she goes to the Hangout toolbox and checks the audio not listed as being there. Rose, you may want to try reloading the Hangout possibly, or try a different browser. Rose is also asking, what do you do about the homeworks like homework 2 that give a solution in homework 3? It's the same old problem, really. I was having a big discussion with somebody before, I think it's maybe Puneet actually in one of the earlier Hangouts today, about all of the solutions are out there. If somebody wants a solution to one of our assignments, they can get it. And I think maybe we need to move towards assuming they can get it if they want it. And
well, the problem, I mean, it's a little worse than that, in the sense that it's not that they can get it if they're like looking for a solution. What happens is that people will search and get help as they should be doing when they're working out the problems, and in the nature of of asking that question, the solution will just pop up in front of them,
Mm.
along with suggestions, and that I could see is hard for a student who's under deadlines and this and that to avert their eyes from that.
It's very tempting, yes, I guess, if the complete solution just happens to be there. Right, but so what that suggests to me is, I mean, yeah, we can, as we've sort of done, devote lots of time and energy and effort into trying to this arms race of trying to hide the solutions, which has not been very. It's a bit like the war on drugs. I think the alternative is to say doing what we're doing, which is to move into this review of the student's process. Like, I think we should just assume, like, there's no way we can keep the solution secret. It's not. It's like, and we can keep on burning more and more effort and energy in trying to keep the solution secret, when what I think we sensibly do instead is we work on frameworks that allow us to check the student's process. So are they TDDing? Are they pair programming effectively? And these things. And the interesting things I've discovered, it seems like that there is a fair degree of flexibility in the edX peer review component, in that we can have the peer review process start before, people can continue submitting, and people can start peer reviewing at any point. So what I'm hoping to do in this run of the MOOC is give students, like I basically said in the MOOC, we're removing all the deadlines for the assignments in the MOOC. And so basically the assignments will be released, and then, if you can get the assignment in before the course ends, fine. That's great. You do it whenever you want to. And, the peer review will start, as soon as the peer review will start as the assignment is released. And so you can, to the extent that there's enough people who've also submitted solutions, you can, get through and get your grade whenever.
Okay. And then you could change. I mean, I don't know if edX has this capability, but some of these systems have the capability where you can release assignment 2 based on some level of completion of assignment 1, so it's not there, it's not visible until they made that milestone, and that would address Rose's question about homework.
Right.
But yeah,
I'm not aware of them supporting that.
Right. Okay. So that's but they could or should. Okay, fine. And then the other thing, though, is you posted a message on Slack about why did we decide not to force the groups, and I didn't answer because I couldn't remember. And I think what you just said is what we talked about a week or two ago, which is that when we have the self-paced, we're going to have a hard time doing the peer reviews, and therefore we decided not to, at that moment, maybe it shouldn't be mandatory. Okay.
Yeah.
But I am very interested in that review process.
Yeah.
I'm looking at tools that our new course management system that we're using is Canvas. I'm looking at what that provides. I'm looking at what some other systems provide. I really want to do, at some point, if you want to do another run of that edX kind of peer review, I was a little bit rushed and I wasn't fully prepared for that. So as things go in the next few weeks, I'd be curious to go through that process again, because with my class with limited interaction and large numbers of students, I want to try using something like that.
Yeah. Well, and what I would maybe suggest for you guys is, you might actually, like, the MOOC is going live. This would be a great time to just, if you follow along with the MOOC. I mean, I will be running, like you said before, pairing sessions where I do different of the homeworks and so on, and I can invite you guys in. So yeah, if you work through the MOOC, and the MOOC's going to contain that peer review thing, so we could do some of our future sessions.
Okay.
I mean, at least I'm going to be running sessions where we do bits and pieces like that anyway, so I could, like, that flow will be going. I mean, if you're teaching these insane 5-week things, you've got almost no.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I keep saying to myself, it's like, oh yeah, I just gotta set it up the weekend before, and then everything will be smooth. And there's not a day that has gone by this week, including today, that I have like a full plate of things to do. So I don't know what I just feel like, okay, once I do this, then I can take a break. I don't know how realistic that is, but we'll see. And Rose's question is
Yeah, she was. Well, she's
how,
asking how far along is the MOOC,
right.
and it's basically it's in week -1 now. And when you came in, Rose, I was just talking about how I've been reviewing the week 1 and week 2 videos, and finally made some important fixes to those that you guys will get if you clone. We get new clones in the fall. And then Rose is asking about pair sessions for the MOOC. I mean, basically, what I'm going to be doing, like, so next week, I will need to be, for example, reviewing homework 0. I've also renamed the homework so everything starts from, so there's no, forget quiz 0 and homework 0. Everything starts from 1. So there's like homework 1 is the Ruby introduction. So like next week I'm going to be reviewing that, and basically what it will be early, very early your mornings. Is I basically because Michael, who I do programming for the website One thing, and we're trying to get this like time zone fix out so people can create events in their own time zone correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's in the same time zone as you. So
Okay.
he wakes up, and then I tend to start pair programming with him. So basically I'll try and I'll advertise the and there's lots of other things going on, and we're trying to launch different things. But basically I will try and when I sit down to do reviews of the assignments, I will if I know in a day or two in advance that I'm going to have this time slot, I will let you know. But I'll do it in the BetaSaaSers channel and just say, right, yeah, okay, I'm going to do it. Like, but
Okay, so that'll the Slack BetaSaaSers. Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's
Because
Slack.
I have that up on my desktop, and but sometimes I'll ignore because I figure, oh, I'm not, that nothing's going on with me. But I'll keep an eye out for that. That's good.
Keep an eye out for that. And of course, I'll record the session. So if you're not there in real time, then you can, I'll try and make resources, that are available to you in an ongoing fashion. It's difficult for me to say, oh yes, I will definitely be doing this on Tuesday at this time because of the various different projects that I have coming up, and it's like, yesterday afternoon, Michael wasn't available, and I was like, all right, I'll get on and do the videos. And sometimes, you have to fit stuff into certain sorts of slots, and sometimes you're not in the mood. And
Right. That's what Agile is all about.
Oh goodness, yes. There's a whole thing about I don't know, like getting stuff done. Sometimes I feel, often first thing Monday morning, I feel quite depressed about getting stuff done, and then the week moves on and things get better. And sometimes it's just like, I have my big list of things to do, and sometimes it's just like, oh, okay, I'm really not making any progress on that. Okay, I've got half an hour before lunch. Actually, let me just do some of the like things that take 5 or like, I think that's the key in some ways in moving forward. Is just you keep on going around on the list, and sometimes you get sick of doing something. Yeah, stop doing that. Move on. Spend half an hour doing some of the other, stuff that you've been procrastinating about, and then switch around again. Anyway.
Yeah.
Whew.
I mean, as long as I'm getting something done that's on the list that needs to get done, I feel like I'm being making progress, even if it's not the most important or the thing I should be doing. At least it's doing something. Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
And it's the motivation and interest is is key, just like we said right at the beginning.
That's right. Rose, did you have anything to add to the agenda? Anything particularly affecting you at the moment? The only thing that you missed with me is so the 1.21 update to the textbook. People in different countries are telling me that they're getting their updates on their Kindles now. So that's gone through. But yeah, is there anything else, Rose, that we can help you with?
Typing.
Yeah, and I guess Rose may be typing. Richard, anything else
I mean, this is it's good. I'm just feeling a little anxious about all the things that I could or should be doing, but that anxiety will end very quickly once we end this video chat and I get onto my other work.
Yeah, well, I guess that's a good. We'll let you go. I think we've covered everything that we need to cover today. So yeah, I mean, Rose, it's great to see your students kind of using aspects of the Agile Ventures system for them. We see their pairing events coming through in general and so on. We've had a big surge of about another 100 new members coming into Agile Ventures as a result of the MOOC starting and having little chats with people. It's nice to see all the activity going on. Yeah, well, I think let's wrap it up there, and
and just let me reiterate. Let me reiterate as we're wrapping up the thing that is most intriguing is like, okay, how we might use that self-paced course in the context of an in-person pseudo in-person classroom,
Yeah.
and I see a lot of potential because it would be nice to be live with everyone else and have all that support, but I see some problems and issues, and so let's
Yeah, we'll keep
in
talking
the
about that.
agenda,
Yeah.
and then we'll keep I just need to start even thinking about it.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good stuff. All right. Well, it
Very
looks
good.
like I've got some kind of problem with Agile Ventures, the site now, but maybe because we've got excessive numbers of users coming in there. Yeah, I better go and fix. So I better go on with that. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.